When American highways thundered under chrome and horsepower, the 1980s gave rise to the most iconic freight hauliers in trucking history. The 1980s reshaped America's freight industry. From deregulation to the rise of aerodynamic design, this decade defined the golden era of trucking. Introducing 15 of the most legendary freight carriers ever built. And here's where it all started to shift. 1980 wasn't just another year. It was the spark that flipped the entire American freight world on its head. The Motor Carrier Act of 1980 broke the chains of government control. Suddenly, trucking companies could set their own routes, prices, and business strategies. The rigid system that had ruled for decades crumbled overnight. It unleashed a flood of independent drivers and small carriers, turning the open road into a competitive battleground of chrome and grit. Innovation wasn't optional anymore. It was survival. And that's when trucking started getting really interesting. But wait, it gets better. That same year, GMC rolled out something special for the men and women who live by the mile, the Astro SS Special Series. This wasn't just another cab over. It was a statement on wheels. The bigger grille gleamed like armor. The trims were sharper, and the interior had that rugged comfort every long-haul driver craved. It was built for the independent spirit, for those who own their rig and their destiny. On the road, you could spot that bold front coming a mile away, gleaming under the sun like a badge of pride. And this part right here, it felt like the end of one era and the birth of another. When Peterbilt said goodbye to its 352 cab over in 1981, it wasn't just retiring a truck. It was closing a chapter that had defined American freight for decades. Then came the 362, sleek, squared off, and mean-looking in the best way possible. It offered better visibility, a sturdier frame, and the kind of driver comfort that made cross-country hauls feel almost easy. On the highway, that bold red oval on the grille wasn't just a logo. It was a promise of performance. For many truckers, the 362 wasn't a replacement. It was an evolution of the legend they already loved. Just when it seemed Peterbilt owned the cab-over scene, International rolled up its sleeves and dropped the CO 9000, a machine built to take punishment and keep rolling. It looked tough because it was. This was the kind of truck that didn't flinch at a 40-ton load or a coast-to-coast haul. With its solid structure, powerful driveline, and no-nonsense design, the CO 9000 became the workhorse for carriers who didn't care about flash. They cared about finishing the job. You could hear that deep diesel growl echoing through mountain passes and empty plains, a sound that meant business. In a decade of competition, International's CO 9000 earned respect the hard way, mile by mile, load by load. Then came a twist that no one saw coming, a handshake that would quietly change the future of trucking. In 1981, White Motors, one of America's most trusted names, was acquired by Volvo. It was more than just a business deal, it was a merging of two worlds. American muscle meeting Scandinavian precision. Volvo brought advanced safety and design philosophies while White carried that rugged American DNA. Together, they forged something new, a blueprint for smarter, more efficient freight transport. Old-school truckers were skeptical at first, but soon they realized this wasn't the end of White. It was the rebirth of a powerhouse, and it marked the start of global innovation rolling onto American highways. Now here's where the roar of the open road got its voice back. In 1982, Kenworth dropped the W900B, and it hit the industry like a thunderclap. This was no minor upgrade. It was a bold revival of the legendary W900A, only bigger, tougher, and sharper. The long nose and clean lines gave it that timeless look, while the new aerodynamic tweaks showed Kenworth wasn't stuck in the past. Drivers loved it because it felt like a perfect mix of old-school heart and new-age muscle. It hauled heavy, looked mean, and turned heads at every truck stop from California to Carolina. For many, the W900B wasn't just a truck. It was freedom on 18 wheels, chrome shining under the American sun. But while Kenworth was flexing tradition, Mack was rewriting the playbook. The 1982 Mack Ultraliner rolled in as a technical masterpiece, the first cab built with reinforced fiberglass. No rust, no heavy metal fatigue, just smart engineering wrapped in toughness. It was lighter, cleaner, and durable enough to take the worst road conditions America could throw at it. Fleet owners noticed it fast. Less weight meant better fuel economy, and better fuel economy meant more money in the pocket. It wasn't flashy, but it was brilliant. A quiet revolution hiding behind that bulldog badge. Mack didn't just build trucks, they built trust. And the Ultraliner proved innovation didn't have to come at the cost of reliability. Then, in 1983, the rules of the road started to alter. And for once, not only for truck drivers, Elizabeth Dole entered history as the first woman to be U.S. Secretary of Transportation, and she immediately started making noise. Her direction changed American driving culture by introducing seatbelt legislation, airbag requirements, and a national drinking age. Trucking now was about responsibility and safety rather than merely speed and steel. Although these new regulations did not always make drivers' lives easier, they made the roadways safer for all sharing the lane. It was a defining point when policy struck the sidewalk, hence setting the tenor for a more intelligent, more disciplined age in American transport. Kenworth threw a curveball that transformed the whole sector just as everyone believed trucking had peaked. Fuel prices were killing fleets alive by 1985, and efficiency was not a pleasure. It was survival. And then came the T600, and the future now had a countenance. The T600 cut through doubt with its sloped hood, sleek cab, and distinctive profile, not just win. Old school drivers called it the Anteater, but that nickname became a source of pride. The T600 demonstrated that economy did not have to suffer for power and performance. It was decades ahead of its time, lighter and more intelligent. Every truck that followed stole something from it. This was the vehicle that showed America how to be unstoppable, quick, and efficient all at once. Though the T600 controlled the roadways, Kenworth continued to reinvent itself. They refined their legendary K100 cabover into the fresh K100E, a machine that perfectly combined power and contemporary comfort in the same year, 1985. The improvements went further than mere cosmetic ones. Its aesthetics resembled more of a cockpit than a cab. Its aerodynamics improved, and its ride felt smoother. Drivers could travel coast to coast without being tired from the road. While retaining traditional Kenworth toughness, the K100E added a sophisticated element that fleets found irresistible. Companies seeking tight maneuverability and dependability on difficult roads used it as their first choice. The E represented evolution, and that's precisely what it brought forth. The following chapter in Kenworth's legacy of innovation and driver dedication. The Freightliner FLD, the truck that would come to represent the late 80s, followed. First unveiled in 1987, it offered a sweet spot between performance and usability. It was offered in 112 and 120-inch forms. Though its design appeared deceptively basic, every contour and curve was built to minimize friction and conserve gasoline. Drivers complimented its reliability and comfort. Fleet managers appreciated it since it reduced problems and expenditures. Soon, the FLD became North America's best-selling Class 8 truck. Everywhere you gazed, those famous Freightliners were pushing America ahead. It not only ruled the roadways, it became a feature of the terrain. Though not the loudest or most flashy truck of the decade, the FLD was the one that delivered year after year, day after day. When Peterbilt introduced the 379 in 1987, it was more than simply bringing another truck. It was revealing a legend. Replacing the 359, the 379 featured rectangular headlights, a broader windscreen, and a longer hood that made it immediately recognizable on the road. It was brazen, self-assured, and meant for drivers who regarded their trucks as statements of pride rather than only machines. The 379 provided unsurpassed strength, horsepower, and a presence that made heads turn at every truck stop. It delighted owner-operators as it mixed the elegance of a luxury ride with raw power. It evolved into a symbol of American trucking culture itself over time. Whether carrying cargo over open plains or mountainous passes, the 379 towered as the clear road king, hard, ageless, and forever iconic. Peterbilt then made a bold leap toward the future in 1988. With its smooth curves and sloped, bubble-shaped nose, the 372 seemed like something from a science fiction movie. It was among the most aerodynamic cabovers ever created. Designed for long-haul team drivers, it aimed for top fuel economy and shared doors and parts with the traditional 379. Though its odd-formed split views, the 372 demonstrated Peterbilt was not afraid to experiment when the market called for reform. Inside, Peterbilt's forward-thinking attitude to driver well-being and design was on full display in the unexpectedly large and pleasant space. Though it never achieved the iconic reputation of its brother, the 372 is still a fascinating reminder of a period when truck manufacturers dared to dream. Beyond tradition, and sometimes that's what renders history remarkable. Ford wanted in on the aerodynamic revolution by 1988, and they did with the Aeromax L9000. Ford said here that may also imply graceful. The truck featured form-fitting bumpers, skirted fuel tanks, and a bullet-shaped sleeper that sliced through wind resistance like never before. Its design enhanced driver comfort and fuel economy, making it a strong opponent to the major players in the market, not only in looks. Among both fleets and independents, the Aeromax L9000 was elegant, sleek, and quick to command respect. It revealed that Ford was really trying to combine the strength truckers needed with innovation. Ford would later leave the heavy-duty sector, but the Aeromax represented a peak, a gorgeous mix of performance and design that gave late 80s trucking an astounding increase in aerodynamic brilliance. Western Star decided by 1989 to end the decade with a fanfare. Two monsters the firm released really captured the essence of 1980s trucking: the aerodynamic 5900 and the powerful 6900 series. Featuring smoother lines and better aerodynamics for enhanced fuel efficiency, the 5900 embraced the new wave of design efficiency. The 6900 was, however, pure muscle. Designed for strong, heavy-duty hauling, it evolved to represent unadulterated American power that could negotiate the roughest terrains and loads effortlessly. These models captured everything the decade embodied: invention, strength, and strong craftsmanship. Western Star finished the decade on a high note, therefore solidifying its reputation as a brand for trucks that appreciated both aesthetics and practical use. For a decade defined by chrome, power, and unrelenting drive, it was the ideal conclusion. The 1980s gave us more than just trucks. It gave us legends. Each of these carriers defined innovation, endurance, and pride on America's highways. From aerodynamic revolutions to fiberglass breakthroughs, this was the decade that redefined trucking forever. If your rig doesn't shine, you don't know Jack.